having endless ties, or in Rapid having endless draws like over and over and over again. But in Blitz, when you're playing 3-2, like the odds of having, let's just say 6 draws in a row even, are extremely low. Like that's actually the reason they don't have Armageddon, is because I think they've listened to the players, and the players don't like when you have games with no increment. So we had a situation where you had a winner in the women's tournament, Zhu Wenjun, and in the men's section it was a split between Magnus and Fob, or Magnus and Jan, sorry, Magnus and Jan. So they split, so that sort of sets the stage for what we're going to go into, where there was this unprecedented tie between Magnus and Jan Nepomniachtchi. Let's take a look at the next bit.
Ladies and gentlemen,
so the next bit, of course, is going to be the press conference, and then we'll see what we can get through before the bullet brawl. But this is really I think where the meat is going to start. Let's get going.
Good evening and welcome to the final press conference of the World Rapid and Blitz Chess Championships, organized by FIDE here in New York. This particular press conference is dedicated to the World Blitz, which is just finished now, hours away from New Year's.
Should I speed it up? Okay, I'll put the speed a little bit faster. I'll put the speed a little bit faster. I'll put it 1.25 and we'll go from there.
Here we have on stage with us the winners.
Okay, so first thing is, like, just to be clear, like it's a little bit comical here that you see that Zhu Wenjun is here on her own. She is the champion. And then, of course, you see Magnus and Jan here with the double champions. You know, it's worth keeping in mind that in the women's section as well, they went to a tiebreaker between Zhu Wenjun and Lei Tingji, and they played it out. They played it out. They played till there was a winner. They did not decide to agree to a draw. So it is very, very important to keep that in mind. Let's get going with it.
Competition, and 2 winners in the open competition, Mr. Jan Nepomniachtchi and Mr. Magnus Carlsen. Welcome to all of you, and thank you for joining us. This is a unique event in a unique year for FIDE, where we celebrated 100 years since our founding. And we're delighted to have been able to organize this event here and to bring it to New York. And we're very grateful to all the players who have come, all the media and all the spectators, and we hope that you really enjoyed the show. I'm going to start with Zhu first, because you finished your event first. So it was really tough, this final stage of the knockout. 5 draws and then a victory against your compatriot.
By the way, I love this start. You see, it was really tough, right? They had 5 draws, and then she won the 6th game. I mean, it was 5 tough draws. Actually, my mouse is dying, so I need to charge it. Give me 1 second, you guys. Where's the cord? So yeah, so first things first, see 5 very hard draws, and then there was a decisive game. In the other section, it was not quite like that, as we saw. There was no hard fought draws and then a victor. They played 7 games. No, of course, I know you're going to say they played 7 versus 5, but the point is, I like the wording of how it was 5 tough, hard games, and then you had a decisive winner. Let's keep going.
Yes. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it is in the finals, Lei Tingji is a very strong Blitz player, and I was just more lucky. And well, I think we both play well.
But you think luck prevailed here? So how big of a factor was luck, if you could quantify?
But see, like, let's be real, okay? Let's be real, okay? Let's be real for a second. I know this is where I'm going to start with the hot takes, but you know, she talks about luck being a factor. The fact of the matter is, there is a championship. Like, if it comes down to luck, then why didn't they just agree to split the prize? I mean, they could have both been co-champions and just agreed to split it. Plain and simple. So, like, just gonna be honest, like, it's really funny listening to what she's saying. She's saying, well, it came down to luck. Probably, I mean, her opponent blundered last and everything, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's clear they should have just agreed to split it. But they were under the impression that they could not do that. They were under the impression that they couldn't do that.
Would you say 50-60%?
Well, I think like in the first 5 games, we both played well, and in the 6th game, and she played this opening. I know it's a decisive game, and well, luckily I checked it earlier, like in this tournament, so I know some thoughts. So I guess that's how it was.
Thank you very much. I'm turning to the winners in the open. Jan, I'm going to start from you. You managed to come back 2 games down and to equalize, and then we saw 3 very hard-fought draws. How difficult was it to make a comeback, and how do you do it? Obviously, that's a really big thing in the finals of the World Blitz against Magnus Carlsen. How difficult was it for you?
Well, it was, of course, uneasy, and we played recently in the Chess.com finals.
I mean, one thing that I have to say, like, and this is like Nepo winning those 2 games in a row was simply amazing. I mean, for the number of times that like Fabiano or myself or Wesley or anybody, whether it's over the board or online, has been down against Magnus, needing to win 1 game with the black pieces, let alone needing to win 2 games, 1 with white and 1 with black. It's really, really impressive. Like, it cannot be understated. Like, I have a feeling it might be the first time I've ever seen this, where Magnus was ahead like 2-0 and someone was able to actually win 2 in a row to force a tiebreaker. Magnus has been able to do it on his end, where he's been down 2-0. But it was really, really brilliant. His play to come back, I mean, it can't be understated how amazing that actually was.
In Oslo, and it was like pretty much the same situation for me. Like, so I started with 2 losses, and then it was, I mean, it was 6 games, but anyway, it was very difficult to come back. But I also think that even though like I had some chances in those games, like in Oslo, so I wasn't like too pessimistic, because I mean, all right, like, of course, like not the best start, but whenever I get a chance, I can try to play, try to play it on and to use it. So yeah, it's like 3-2 Blitz. It's anything can happen, and yeah, okay, the game 3 was important, and okay, then game 4. I believe, yeah, it was continuation of our theoretical battle from Oslo, and then okay, that game I castled the kingside and got mated in 2 moves. Here I opted for queenside castle, which works like a charm, but I mean, of course, I mean, okay, I already had to get from behind against Wesley, and Magnus had to do the same, I think, against Hans in the first match, yeah, so yeah, it's a very long and exhausting event for everyone, so it was, I mean, of course, quite a bit of luck for me, but I think also I just tried to give it all.
Excellent, thank you very much. Magnus, after these 3 very difficult games which ended in a draw, if I got it well, you stood up and suggested that you came with the proposal that you should split the crown, split first place. What made you suggest that?
I thought that at that point, like, we'd already played for a very long time, and I was first of all very happy to end it, and I thought at that point it would have been very, very cool on both of us if we, that one gets first and the other gets second, and so I thought it would be a reasonable solution.
Okay, so like this, I'll stop after the reply there. I mean, again, this is like right after it happened, to be fair, but there are a couple of things that need to be said. The first thing first is, as far as being tired goes, again, if you can't really complain about such things, in my opinion, if as a collective whole the players are not going to say anything. Like, the players agreed to this before the event. Now we can get into all the specifics of, like, there should be like a players union or something, which should basically go to FIDE and say you have to make it different or something, but at the end of the day, the players agreed to play in this event with these current rules. So, like, the notion of being tired, like, I mean, everybody can. Alirez did something with you. I mean, whatever. Like, that's like an online tournament, completely different. Frankly, like, it's just a bullet championship, and it's like bullet championship, like whatever. But like in this event, like, you agree to play in this event. You agree to play under these rules. And saying that you're tired after playing 3 matches, I mean, this is a situation where they had not played like 10 games in the final or something. They'd only played 7 games. So I really don't feel like this. I feel like at the end of the day, you agreed to play. So like saying you're tired, well, if that was a problem before the event, you should have said something. All the players should have said something. And there also was a rest day in the middle too. It wasn't 5 straight days. I believe it was 3 days, rest day, and then the blitz day, and then the knockout day. So that's the he would have played 100 games against Hans. Well, let's see what he says here, if he says anything else that's spicy. Let's keep going.
Do you think the reaction is going to be of the spectators to this?
I don't know. I think
to both your fans and
no, I think like people of course understand that we're both tired and nervous, and some people are gonna like it, some people are not gonna like it. it's the way it is.
Well, I mean, it's interesting that Magnus thinks that it's going to be like some people are going to like it, some people aren't. The vast majority of people who are actually in chess do not like it. The audio is low. My mod doesn't say anything about the audio being low. I think it's fine. And I think you're trolling. But I mean, the thing that like saying that people are going to be tired, like I'll give you another example. And like I know people are going to bring in the second thing about like the format with the 3+2 forever versus no Armageddon. But hot take, I was actually so much more tired when I was very tired when I played Magnus in the 7-day tournament. We played the Chess Champions Tour in 2020 online, I believe it was, and we played 7 days of like 4 rapid games. There were also tiebreakers, I think, on at least like 2 or 3 of those days at least. Like I honestly think that was far more tiring than this was, frankly. And like we still played it out. Now I know people are gonna say, well, there was an Armageddon at the end, it had to end one way or the other, but I really don't think it's actually about the format itself. I think the reality is that I mean, I feel like Magnus just got tired and he just on the spur of the moment, he's just like, okay, let's just split it. I'm tired, let's just get out of here, kind of. So I actually like the whole thing about being tired is just, I don't know. I find it weird. I find it weird. It doesn't really resonate with me.
All right, that's great. Well, thank you both, and thank you, Drew. So we're going to open the floor now for questions. Tell us where you're from, tell us what your question is, and let's move on. Hello, gentleman over there.
Hi, my name is Sal Triparano with the Chicago Chess Foundation. I'd like to say Happy New Year's to you champions. My question is for everyone on the panel. You face many top players across several different formats in chess. Do you feel like rivalries play a bigger role in Blitz compared to classical chess? If so, who is your biggest rival in the Blitz format?
Okay, June, do you want to start first? Rivalry. Who is your biggest rival in the Blitz?
Well, actually, I don't have that expectations for Blitz. But I think literally they are all good. But I think during the game I played, I think Leighton played really well. She gave me a lot of pressure during the game.
Thank you very much. Two of you obviously talk about the rivalries. Magnus, you want to start first on this one?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there are many like good potential rivalries, but most of all just trying to beat the field, like trying to beat whoever is in front of me, and of course with this match format that we had today, then it becomes kind of more pronounced, which I guess is a good thing.
Yeah.
I also think like on a good day, like anyone can perform brilliantly. So whatever we take, like not only like top 10 players or top 20 players, but a lot of Blitz stars here, who some of them are like well known on the internet on the chess.com. Yeah, some of them like less. But I think if we check like the standings of the Swiss part of the World Blitz Championship, okay, quite a bit of names which are not so well known. Yeah.
Jan speaks too fast for 1.25. I can put it back at 1. But I think it's okay for now.
The same for the people who are following only top chess tournaments. So of course, like I guess like Magnus is currently like the best Blitz player.
Of course.
But I think when it comes to online, okay, it's also like Alireza is very good. Hikaru is very good. Sometimes I can also play a little bit. Wesley, for example. Yes. So I think it's a very, very volatile game, and like on a good day you can. But whenever you have it, like you can.
Well, it's like the perfect example of this is Wesley. Wesley is the best example. I know someone's gonna probably try and say that he's like taking some dig at me, which he isn't. But Wesley is the perfect example where Wesley basically he has not done anything for literally like the last 2 years, and then he has a great event. So like it's very, very volatile. The thing is, like nowadays I'm much more up and down than I used to be. I used to be very, very consistent. Now I usually I'm very good or I'm very bad, and unfortunately I was very, very bad. So I mean I don't really disagree with what Nepo is saying here. I've become much more up and down than I ever used to be. Much more up and down. So like that's not like some dig or anything at me. I'm just not as stable as I once was. That's the reality. So let's keep going.
I mean, especially in Blitz, you're capable of beating people.
But now we have two of you here next. I have to ask this question. You've played each other so many times, like you've played the other top players, but is there a specific mindset that has developed when you play Magnus or when you play Ian? Like that is different, for example, when you played Wesley or somebody else?
Yeah, I mean, of course it's...
a huge thing.
It's different based on opponent.
I mean, there's the Magnus effect.
You adjust your strategy a little bit because of that, but... as you said, like we've played each other so many times that you kind of know what you're getting at this point.
Okay, Jan?
Yeah, like generally, I mean the Blitz of of course, you make a lot of mistakes in Blitz, and I think the key is like to minimize your unforced errors, like in tennis. And like as for me, I'm sort of capable of keeping up like very, very high pace. And normally, I think I play a little bit more quick than majority of my opponents, but the problem, okay, I don't play too good yet, so don't blunder pieces and so on, and don't make some silly moves. And if you can combine it, then probably you can fight for some high places and hope for a good result. But there is like no specific approach towards players here. Normally in Blitz it's a game of intuition, and you have to play a position you know well, you feel well, and I mean, it can be objectively bad, but you know what you're doing, and that's perhaps the most important thing.
Okay, two different approaches. Thank you very much. Next question. NRK?
I can't hear this. What's being said?
Oh, I guess that's good that Hans has Twitter.
Is this something about Hans and Twitter? I couldn't hear the question. I don't think you guys could hear it either. The question was he was asked about what he thought of Hans' tweet. I actually don't know what Hans tweeted. Fun fact, you guys, I haven't looked at any of this stuff prior to my stream. I've intentionally avoided looking at any of it, so like I'm in the dark basically when I go through this. Open Hans' Twitter. Someone can just tell me in chat what it was. He was saying something about chess as a joke or something. Is that what he was saying, you guys? Because I actually don't know. I don't know. But okay, let's keep going.
Like Hans has Twitter, yeah. I mean, he always entertains us. I mean, yeah.
I just said no comment.
Well, thank you for that question. I mean, obviously, FIDE is its own body which controls itself, but everyone is entitled to their opinion, so that's how we carry it. Gentleman over there, VG. Just wait a second for the microphone. Yeah, microphone, VG. Over there. Yeah. Just raise your hand.
Okay, can I go ahead and ask a question?
Yeah, sorry.
Sure, yeah, no worries.
Please,
this is Riley Moore with Quillette Magazine. I had a question for you, Magnus. Clearly you had some frustrations with FIDE during this event, and I was curious if your decision to split the first place was a continuation of those frustrations, or is it merely just exhaustion?
No, I had nothing to do with that. And I'm happy with the fact that there was a solution was found and accepted.
Thank you. Now, the gentleman from VG.
That was a really fast answer, by the way, from Magnus. Really, really fast answer.
Just raise your hand and they'll pass you the microphone. Just raise your hand. Thank you.
Question for Magnus. Would you have shared a gold medal with any other player than Jan?
It's a good. It's a hypothetical, of course, but it was good to share with him for sure.
Okay.
By the way, this is the first spot where I'm going to say something pretty negative about this, which is I actually like. I think the reason Magnus did this is because he was just very tired. I think he was actually very tired, which is the reason that he proposed it. This notion that like Magnus is a great friend with Jan is definitely something that is out there. And the reason that that's out there, I would say, is because Magnus has been pretty outspoken about like Russian players and all the geopolitics that have gone on. So, you know, I also, of course, have some inside information. I'm not gonna pretend that I don't. But this notion that they're like best friends suddenly is just not just not true. That's just not true. So like I think there's being a narrative spun that somehow they're like great friends or everything, but they are not great friends. Like Magnus has been very outspoken. This I think is not necessarily well known. I'm just trying to think about whether I should say this or not. I guess I'll say it because I don't care. But you know, one of the big sponsors of the Champions Chess Tour, they dropped out over it. They dropped out over sponsoring the Chess Champions Tour because chess.com, which runs the Chess Champions Tour, basically was willing to let Russian players play. So that's also more tea for anybody who's wondering. Like there was a sponsor that dropped out because of that issue specifically. So like this notion that like it's like, you know, he's best friends with Magnus or Magnus best friends with Nepo or something, it's just not true. It just isn't true. So like this already is very, I mean, they're on good terms. I mean, I'm under the impression that Magnus thinks a lot of what Nepo has said privately about certain players is complete nonsense. So like, I think it just comes down to Magnus was super tired and he didn't want to play anymore. That's my personal take, obviously. I mean, I can't speak for Magnus, but that is my view. That is my view, actually. So let's keep going.
Just a question. Okay, let's slowly move your wrap up. Sorry, just a question. The mic is over there. Just sorry a second.
Question for Jan. Magnus played bishop h4. Did you see immediately
Bishop a4 or queen a4?
Which game again? You mean game 4? No, I mean actually.
This is the final game. Okay.
I sort of misjudged that queen on e7 also protects on f2, and it was like some very bad news because I thought like, okay, I'm like, giving a mate with checks like with any move order, and then the funny thing is, okay, I found like, okay, I started like, okay, I had like I think like 90 seconds or something, so I started considering other moves, and actually like after 93, I was like, first I was quite happy with the endgame which rises like queen e3 and just trades on e3 and takes on b7, but then later on I spotted like there is d4, so second intermediate move, so. Yeah, but I mean, it looked like something should happen. Yeah, like rook g2, queen on f4. Like, of course, my first intention was to blitz out like rook g8 and then something like king f1, knight d2, and then like check, and mate. But queen on e7 also protects on f2. This was a bit shocking, so I had.
Also, by the way, look at Zhu Wenjun. She looks. I mean, she's just like sitting there, like she like it's like so wrong. It really is so wrong, actually. Someone mentioned that in chat. Like that's just sad. Like no questions for her at all. No questions at all.
You know. Great, a new master plan, yeah, but yeah, fortunately, 93 was just enough.
I thank you for wrapping up gradually. Just the lady over there with the mic. Just could you pass the mic to the lady, please? Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Virginia Benedict, and I have a chess club in my town, and I'm mostly little kids, youth. And so I asked this question the other day to the other winners, and I'm asking again the same. What advice would you give? Would I give my kids to become really good chess players? What should they focus on? Middle, opening, or endgame?
Well, do you want to start first on this one as well?
Well, I think for little kids, 1 or 2 openings and some middle games is like a basic. But if they can grow more interested, they can like analyze this more.
Thank you, Ju. Jan, you want to?
Well, I think generally speaking, there should be some passion towards chess, and chess should bring some joy and like enjoyment, let's say. So I think it's quite well. This is it basically. Yeah, like so you can if
play for fun.
Especially like we speak about someone like very young, yeah, has like no real like passion. Once again, yeah, like that doesn't really like to do too much of chess. Like for example, like me, yeah. I'm kidding, but yeah, normally. Everything like just a little bit of this, little bit of that is fine, but just keep the general attitude towards the game. Yeah, this is interesting that like brings you joy and so on. I think that's the key. And once there is a connection, yeah, like there is a link in between like the game, like the work, you know, the study. I mean, it sometimes like brings some good results, and some of the kids become great players.
Yeah, I would generally echo much of what Jan is saying. I think for kids, I don't think young kids should be thinking about how am I going to be, you know, one of the best in the world or anything like that. You just enjoy it as much as possible, and the process will lead you, you know, where it leads you.
Thank you.
When you were young, you started very young. Did you just enjoy it, or did you focus?
Yes. Yeah, I loved it. So there was no thought of like focus or anything. I just did what I loved.
And you still do. I mean, I saw in the fourth game when you were losing, at one point you just smiled at the position, which is interesting to have such reaction in such a difficult position. Well,
I'm not sure about
maybe
that.
I noticed it.
But
maybe that's how I read it.
It was an interesting game, so that's for sure.
Thank you. Hans, NRK, Norwegian.
To Magnus and Jan, how does it look for FIDE that you have to call the president to make a decision to split the gold, and what did he say?
Okay, here we go.
Well,
you know, I think I've said enough about FIDE. It's okay.
No, but I guess like there was like there was a case of sharing gold on the Olympiad, yeah, in Tokyo, yeah, like so more or less recently, I'd say, yeah.
Now,
and also,
what I do know about this, by the way, is to be fair, like I am aware of the tweet that Nepo put out about the chess Olympiad, where Nepo was very, very critical of them sharing a first prize. So, like, there is one that this is a little bit contradictory here. I have no doubt that I'll get to that tweet later, but this is very slightly contradictory what Nepo is saying here, because there was a shared gold medal in the online chess Olympiad between India and Russia. and Nepo was very upset about it. He thought it was unacceptable that they split. In fact, maybe I'll find that tweet while I'm at it. Because since it's so in the news. Is it this one? Is it this tweet? Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. Is it this tweet? Let me see. I think it's this tweet, right? This was August 30th, 2020. I think it's this tweet. Actually, now I need. Is this the right scene? Let me adjust this. Yeah, this is the right scene. So, this I believe is the tweet from August 30, which says, "Smart decision to please the Indian chess community, meanwhile forgetting about other fans and players. Selective nobleness." Now, this is kind of the point. To be clear, like, this is just not good. This is just not good. This is just not good. So for anybody who needs the context of what was going on in August of 2020, because there was this thing called the pandemic, there was an online chess Olympiad which occurred. I actually played for the US team, and what happened is that at the end there were like some disconnection issues, I think maybe lag. I don't have 100%, I'm not 100% sure on the specifics, but basically they chose to split the gold medal between India and Russia. And as you can tell from Jan's tweet here, he says, "Smart decision to please the Indian chess community, meanwhile forgetting about the plans and fans and players." And this is kind of runs very contradictory to what Nepo was just saying. It runs completely contradictory, in fact. Like, it's just flat out contradictory. Let me adjust my scene just a little bit here. Actually, I just realized it's a little bit off. 1 second. Let me make sure my pineapple is showing so it's not super janky. There we go. But this is simply, I mean, it's just simply like wrong. It's basically just wrong. So like you see this tweet here from Nepo, and already, like, this is kind of the point, is that it's already a little bit hypocritical. So all right, let's get back to the video, and let's change the scene. There we go. Here we go. What happened? Did I do something wrong? What happened? Or, oh, it's this scene. Sorry, wrong one. Okay. Let's keep going.
I didn't like too much the sharing first for the online Olympiad in chess.
Okay, gets it.
Which was a bit controversial to me, but okay, what to do? So,
but then why is this okay?
I think it's like maybe it will cause FIDE to return the Armageddon tiebreaker.
But then why is it okay? Like, why is it okay though? Why is it okay? I just Googled it, actually, for anyone who's wondering. I didn't have it saved. But yeah, like, it's weird. Like, but why he's like, it is what it is. But then, like, yeah, I mean, I guess it's just trying to blame FIDE.
The winner, but so far, okay. I'm not going to whine too much here.
Okay.
Who's that? No. Like, he didn't really say anything. It was like, I think they, yeah, perhaps, yeah, like, so I think they just informed about our, like, agreement, yeah.
Exactly.
But there is a big difference too. Like, the big difference also, for anybody who's wondering, is that online there are actual issues, like connection issues, lag issues. There are no such issues with over the boards. There were actual, like, fundamental issues and things going on with that match.
The chief arbiter, who then communicated that to the FIDE president.
Yeah, like
so
this.
There was no direct conversation between you and.
No, of course.
He was on the Russian team, I believe.
That's what you were aiming at question, and that's what it is. Yes, one more question over there.
I see that Blitz and Rapid is glowing a lot. Do you ever see like a format of World Cup and candidates coming in just to determine the world Blitz or Rapid champion, or do you think that Classical is the only format that should have that kind of a cycle?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I think in general, it's a good thing that that there is an actual final of this event, that you get a winner, or in this case two, which is I think would be quite rare in head-to-head combat. But as
I mean, Magnus kind of slipped there a little bit. He said you get a winner, and he's like, and in this case you get two. That was a little bit of a slip there, wasn't it? That was just a little bit of a slip there.
Events are good on their own, so I don't think there needs to be a cycle like in Classical.
Thank you. Room for one more question, if there's any.
Okay.
Space. Okay, more there, and then let's.
After becoming a tournament champion for so many different formats of chess, I'm curious to know what about the game of chess still brings you joy and sparks a curiosity?
Competition, I assume.
Yeah, I mean,
what does bring you joy after so many of these?
Honestly, like, the biggest feeling of joy is when I'm, I think, actually playing Blitz, and when you find your flow, that's a really, really good feeling. And I had that midway through the day today, and that was really fun. Apart from that, the competition is exciting. The most important tournament, like the most important game, is always the there's the next one. So yeah, I'm still motivated to play, and definitely at times at least brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah, basically not so much to add, but as for me, I just like winning, and yeah, the game of chess is probably the only one I can win a lot. Yeah, like I tried other games. Yeah, I wasn't so successful.
You're a good online gamer, I heard as well.
Yeah, but I'm not winning that much. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Ju, what's your case?
Yeah, well, for me, I think playing chess is very, like most of thing in my life, and it doesn't matter winning or losing, I always enjoying it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, exactly. It doesn't not winning or losing, but it's having fun, and I think we had a lot of fun doing lots of unusual things, new things.
A lot of fun.
When I started writing the article about this, I said there were 2 new things, that we started the event in 2024, and now for most of the world it's 2025, and I think this is the first time in modern history of FIDE that we had such an event. And secondly, we had this change with the knockout format, and obviously new proactive decisions based on the discussions we all had. So I want to thank you all for joining us in this conference.
New decisions,
yeah. Thank the media, thank everyone, and Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, I mean, like it's pretty tame. It's pretty tame. Like again, like I haven't been scouring the internet, but I do know there's some video out there of like Magnus offering a draw or something, which we're going to cover on the other side after the bullet brawl. But yeah, like I mean I think in general, like I'm not a huge fan of the situation. I think proactive decisions and everything else. I mean, well, we're gonna try to cover this C squared, and then see if there's see what they say about it as well.
All right, here we go.
And then I'll give some more general thoughts.
This is absolutely first take after the chaos that ensued after Magnus and Jan decided to split the World Championship title. Fabi, your cold, raw reaction.
Well,
and Rainy.
We once also split a title with Magnus and Levon in the Sinfield Cup.
Right.
But it was a bit different because it wasn't
a world championship. Exactly. I mean, this is the crux of the issue too. For everybody who's like talking about this and trying to say that they're similar things, the crux of the issue is that this is called the World Championship. This is not just a random tournament like this. I mean, I don't want to say random because it was a serious top level tournament. The Sinfield Cup is a serious classical tournament, but whoever gets the trophy at the end, it doesn't really matter. So just splitting it, there are no ramifications. But when you call something like a World Championship, there's supposed to be one winner fundamentally. There's supposed to be a winner. It's not supposed to be something that's shared, unlike every other chess tournament where usually you have a 3 or 4-way tie, and you can share it. So that's the first distinction. So let's keep going.
And nobody cared too much. There was a Sinfield Cup.
Yeah.
Also because there were some practical issues, we had to play another tiebreak, so there was all that. So yeah, I don't know.
Tie breaks for nothing. Exactly.
Why does FIDE not simply have a clause where after like 4 games, it's just one Armageddon? Or they have a 4-game match followed by a 2-game match followed by Armageddon? I don't like
so the first point here is, this is what I'm gonna say, like Fabi is sort of blaming FIDE in a sense, and I mean I don't think it's necessarily wrong to say that FIDE should have a format that is Armageddon, but there are a couple important distinctions. The first point is, when FIDE has this rule, they've had this rule in the FIDE World Cup in the past, the last I think 1 or 2 cycles, and there's never been a situation where the match has ended like this, where players just agree to make a draw. The problem with this though is that at the end of the day, what FIDE is doing is they're assuming the players are simply going to play, they're going to have the pride there's a world champion, and they're going to play, they're not going to try and game the system. That's kind of what FIDE is assuming. So like Fabiano's not wrong here with what he says about it, that you should have Armageddon, but there's also the assumption that players are simply going to have the pride and they're going to play until there's a winner, and they're not going to try to game the system. So let's keep going with the video.
What's the issue with Armageddon? How can you have unlimited matches? Endless matches? Like, there's just practical issues. I mean,
well,
let's say they didn't stop after 3 games, but they stopped after, you know,
the main point that I would say about this, by the way, you guys, in Blitz, in Blitz, when you look at Blitz, you're not going to have 20 draws. In Rapid or in classical chess, it's much more of it's actually an issue. Like, I could see classical chess having endless ties, or in Rapid having endless draws, like over and over and over again. But in Blitz, when you're playing 3-2, like the odds of having, let's just say 6 draws in a row even, are extremely low. So like I think there's this notion that it's like it can just happen. It's like in Blitz, that's just not the case. That's just not the case. Blitz, people make blunders. Everybody blunders in Blitz. In classical, we've already seen it, obviously. In Rapid, you could easily see it too, by the way. But in Blitz, you're not gonna have it.
Draws in a row. At this point, they're playing 20 games.
But you know, actually, you know, let me stop one more for a second, because this is also, I just realized, a little bit contradictory from Fabiano, because when Fabiano talks about Armageddon here, let's not forget that when there was a global chess league that happened in London a couple of months ago, all the top, not all the top players, but like Fabiano, Nepo, and many others were complaining about that event where you had games with no increment, and there were these massive scrambles at the end, and all kinds of terrible stuff happening. So like, that's actually the reason they don't have Armageddon, is because I think they've listened to the players, and the players don't like when you have games with no increment. Now, of course, you can say, yeah, you have to have a winner at the end of the day, but I think the reason they have this format is because the players have complained, and they don't like formats with no increment.
Excessive in one day, right? So at some point you need to end it. Just in the theoretical possibility that it never ends, you know, you just have to have a way to end the match. So
I feel like, okay, but this is cutting some slack to the players, which I feel should be the recipient of somewhat of a backlash, because
yeah, I mean,
you can.
If you guys ask why did they remove the Armageddon, they removed the Armageddon specifically because I believe, this is my belief, I don't know this of course, but I think FIDE actually listened to the players when the players were complaining about like no increment, pieces flying everywhere, no losing claims in various games. They're like, okay, we just don't want to have this, so the way we'll do it is we'll just have blitz games, and you have someone who's going to win, because the players are obviously going to play it out until somebody wins the game, because they want to win the money and they want to win the trophy and the title. And then of course, obviously, as we see that, you know, there are issues with that format, but I think the single biggest reason that there was no Armageddon is because they actually listened to the players in relation to the like the global chess league, where a lot of players were upset about the no increment situation.
Not split the world championship title. First of all, this idea came from Magnus. It was agreed by Jan, and then FIDE basically made a decision, or like the arbiters made a decision. I don't understand whether this is stipulated within the rules that you can change the rules. It's just not fair to the
he's right on this. He's right on this.
Fans, it's not fair to the players, it's not fair to the community. So I understand the rules may be changeable and should be changed in some sort of way, but I feel the blame should be on the players on this one, and the arbiters second.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, I mean, the blame can't be on the arbiters at all. I'll turn the volume up a little bit for you guys as well. So the blame can't be on the Alfredo has good points. I don't really think Christian looks like Alfredo, but anyway, but you can't really blame the arbiters. I'll tell you why you can't blame the arbiters. The reason you can't blame the arbiters in any of this is because the arbiters are already super afraid after what happened regarding the genes. Like, they enforce the rules, and we can talk about how silly those rules were, but they enforce the rules on the genes. And then it blew up in their face, and it was a complete disaster. So arbiters can't do anything anyway. So you can't really bring the arbiters into it whatsoever, because they're not going to do anything, because they're already super afraid. But I think it's, you know, it's what I said. The bottom line as far as all this stuff goes is very straightforward. It comes down to the players. If the players get together as a group and they say, we want this and this change, FIDE will have to comply with that. If you get like the top 20, top 30 players in the world, and they say, you know, we want Armageddon, we want the format to be 2 matches on the final day, or whatever it might be, FIDE will have to agree to that. But the thing is, the players don't do this together. They sort of, they're in their own individual worlds and minds. So what happens is everybody individually complains about various things, and then nothing ends up happening. So that's why actually I have a problem with this. Is like, it's like you talk about the players. If they did it together as a whole, things would be different, but they don't. They just individually complain. You know, it's like someone complains about this, someone complains about that, and it's so scattershot and all over the place that of course FIDE is not going to have to do anything at all about it. So let's keep going.
It leaves a very bad taste in my mouth.
How can you blame
because the players agreed to play under the format? That's why.
It just makes no sense. The rules are in place. You know, you put rules in place. You can't blame players. They just
of course you can. You know, well, of course you can blame the players, because the reason you can blame the players here is because they don't do it as a collective. If the players do it as a whole together and they say it in unison, then FIDE will make some of these changes. But when everybody individually complains, then nothing changes, and then you agree to play the tournament, and then you complain afterwards, and it's a complete disaster. That's all there is to it. That's why you can blame the players. Because individually everybody does their own thing. That's really the problem. Everybody individually does it on their own, and when everybody individually does it on their own, then nothing happens. So okay, let's keep going.
Get their title and go home.
But they're not getting the title. They're getting a split title.
Both getting the title. It's a win-win for them.
It is a win-win for them. Yeah.
This is a huge asterisk. This is a huge asterisk. I mean, this is just simply is not going to bode well.
Bode well for who?
For the players. First of all, this is not a world championship title they have right now. I mean, this is BS.
No, I mean, a world championship title is a world championship title. You know?
They don't agree.
Like split the world championship.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I'll be honest. Ding didn't win the candidates. He didn't even qualify for the candidates. And he made it to a world championship match without qualifying. So, does anyone care? You know, they're both world champions. I'm wondering who's second place. That's a big question. Because we have first place, we have third place, but there's no second place.
There's 2 first places, and that's what I'm saying. It's
so
a
I'm
split first
just
place.
wondering, like, who gets the silver, and also who gets the gold medal.
I think we actually do the
because
average.
they only have one.
They only have one gold medal.
So where does it go?
Who's going to get the gold medal is a big question.
Also, if nobody's claiming the silver medal, I do offer to take it off FIDE's hands, you know, as a courtesy. I'll take it if nobody's asking for it. You know?
Well, I guess we reached our conclusion. There you have it. Hot, raw take from us. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. I don't know.
Hot and raw.
And rainy. Hot, raw, and rainy. Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Of course, the tournament was very weird.
Yeah, it was. It was.
What happened. I mean, the thing is, like, FIDE really should decide things in advance so that they have all the possibilities accounted for.
But, you know, I mean, what I would say about this, though, is what I don't like about this, though, is that Fabiano, again, he's pretending that they haven't had the World Cup with this format. You know, they've had the World Cup, which has the exact same format. As far, unless I'm mistaken, there is no Armageddon. In fact, I think even in the World Championship, there's no, in the actual classical World Championship, if they draw every single game, I don't think there's an Armageddon, is there? Am I wrong? I mean, I think even in the FIDE World Championship, like if Ding and Gukesh, there is Armageddon in that one. In the World Cup, there is not. For sure in the World Cup, there is not Armageddon. There is an Armageddon in the World Championship itself. Okay, because the World Cup, I'm almost certain there's no Armageddon. But I mean, like, in the championship there is. Okay, but the point is they've had this format. It's not like a new thing that they suddenly put in. It's been this way before. So yeah, I'm gonna play the bullet brawl soon enough, but we'll try to finish this video quickly. I'll put the speed at 1.25 as well, because I mean they are there we go. Let's keep going.
So that they don't have any potential issues or scandals. This is not a scandal, but
it kind of is a scandal. I mean, this
is a scandal, definitely.
What happened with the G's, the dress code?
No, I mean a player who drops out and then gets reinstated, who also happens to be the top player, is definitely worse than this. I mean, one of them was going to win, one was going to get silver. Essentially, we have basically the same thing.
But this is not a pure sports perspective, right? I mean, in sports, this is the nature of it. Somebody's going to win.
Yes, exactly.
I'm reasonably sure that there's precedent for this in other sports. I'm reasonably sure in the Olympics we've had shared gold medals.
Yes, they've done it at the Olympics. They shared medals, actually, I think, in the last Olympics.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Or no, I'm right. I'm right, you guys. The World Cup has no Armageddon, to be clear. The World Cup in 2023 has no Armageddon. There is no Armageddon. So it's not. So I'm not crazy. I'm correct.
But that's mostly because at some point in that particular sport, you just simply cannot put your best foot forward because you don't have the energy left. Like after, I think it was a throwing sport. So basically, you cannot throw.
They can say this anymore. They can say this too. Here, they played 15 games in one day. They are tired. Like,
I get it. They're tired.
If you want to like concoct a tiebreaker, then we have a very clear one. Jan got the highest tiebreaks in the preliminary stage. That's, I mean, it's not official, but if you want an unofficial tiebreaker, then Jan is the one who won, and Magnus got third place in preliminary on tiebreaks.
So you think Jan is going to get a gold medal?
Actually,
who cares?
He did get first, right? Yeah, he did get first. I got second and Magnus third.
Yes.
So.
What?
Well, we're also being reminded of Online Olympiad. I don't know if you remember this one.
Oh, yes, I remember.
Russia and India shared. Yeah. So there's precedent even in the chess world. And that one was.
But that's different, as we already talked about.
It was not really an Olympiad, yeah? The online Olympiad. It was some BS Olympiad.
Yeah, I guess
nobody
nobody remembers, of course, online will get whatever. All these online tournaments, they kind of fade away.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't see it as the most crazy thing that's ever happened. Of course, you should have one winner. I would have suggested if I was there, an arbiter or FIDE official, just play one Armageddon game, winner takes it all. I don't know if the players would have declined that. The issue is that when you don't have regulation in place.
But also, like, again, I just got confirmation. The 2024 World Chess Championship, there was no Armageddon either. So this format with which like Fabian was talking about, there was no Armageddon either in the World Cup or in the World Championship match between Ding and Gukesh. So this comes back again, like players are acting, it's like it's the classic Pikachu face shock, like, oh man, what's going on? But this has been in place for a while. This is not some new thing. This is not some new thing.
If both players are adamant at declining, then you can either tell them to play forever, which is not really a good option because they can just like make short draws forever. But protest.
This must be a contract, that you just simply cannot bend the rules.
But like, let's just what happens? Like they say, okay, we'll play on, and then they make a 5-move draw in every game going forward.
Okay, good luck. Good luck. Your whole life playing.
Yeah.
No, but really, like, is that a better outcome?
I mean, if they want to play stupid.
No, but I think the argument is that if they were to do that, can I turn up the audio? I think it's as loud as it can be. But I mean, they're also in a room, so they're speaking softer. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to one simple thing. Like the fact is, like FIDE. I think FIDE is being way too generous. I think FIDE generously assumes that the players are going to have pride and they're going to play to a winner and they're not going to try to game the system. Like, no doubt someone could look and see that it's a possibility, but you assume the pride, the competition, the world championship title is going to mean more than anything else. And ultimately it did not mean more than anything else. Like that is the reality. I think that the FIDE basically, they just assumed that was going to happen and then it didn't happen. So I just don't I don't know. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Win stupid prizes.
Why?
They are soft, by the way.
Spending your life playing.
I mean, at some point everyone's going to get fed up. No?
Yes.
But it's going to reflect very badly on the players if they do that. I mean, but if the players do that, the problem is like their public reputation goes down the drain. I mean, if you make 5-move draws like 10 games in a row, the ramifications for like match fixing and everything else are going to be far greater. So then like the practical application of it.
I think Magnus and Jan would just sit there making their draws forever, you know?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't know. It's a mess. What do you guys think?
Also, at some point there are rules that kick in terms of the amount that you are allowed to play in a game in a day. I don't know exactly what the rules are, but I think it's 12 hours.
Yeah, could be. I don't know.
No, if they control drawing, I mean, everyone's going to hate them though, because it's obvious they're match fixing.
Think about it this way. Okay, they're saying they're tired. They're saying they have
actually wait. Maybe Magnus won a match in 3 games. Maybe he played 14 games.
Yes, he did.
And Jan played 15. There you go. He played another game. He got more points. Jan.
Don't say it.
Jan is the winner.
Don't say it. There you have it. Crazy, absolutely chaotical situation in the chess world that comes after another chaotical situation. Chess is in the news right now, but probably not for the good reasons. Let us know what you think.
Christian, chaotical?
I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, I think in general, when I look at this, what I would say about it is that Fabiano basically just doesn't particularly care. I don't think there's anything wrong with that take. I think generally looking at this, we'll of course talk a lot more about reactions and everything else after the bullet brawl, but I think my general takeaway is pretty straightforward. That when you look at this as a whole, it's really like if you want FIDE to be taken seriously, you believe in the dream that it can be much bigger than it currently is. Something like this is very bad towards accomplishing that goal. If you have the other take, which is chess has already peaked, it's as big as it's ever going to be, then I think Fabiano's attitude is completely right, which is like, who cares? No big deal. We're all going to die, whatever. But that's how I look at it. Is I think it's pretty black and white. If you think chess should be bigger, it can become bigger. This is definitely very bad for the game. But if you think that chess has already peaked and we've reached the maximum amount that we ever can, then so be it. That's life, and everything moves on.